Oh, what's going on? Welcome back at it with another weekly Forexcast. All right, it's been some really interesting movements going on in the market. All right, a lot of volume coming in, especially when we're looking at the dollar. In this video, I'm going to be covering mainly going over the dollar and JPY. All right, dollar pairs, JPY pairs primarily, because that's what a lot of volume has been, especially this past week or two. All right, so if we look at the dollar index, we can see the dollar has just been pumping. Everything trading against the dollar has been bloodbath, basically, just shooting to the downside versus that strength of the dollar. You can see here in the dollar index, we are breaking above this major level of supply. So this is really the highest the dollar has been in over 5 years. All right, the dollar has been pumping, pumping, pumping. So if we come down here, if we could look at this on like the daily, okay, we can see prices still clearly making those higher highs and higher lows, right? So the dollar could be due for some type of correction, but overall, I still anticipate more moves to the upside on this thing. It's showing no signs of reversal as of yet. All right, so some potential levels I would look for the dollar to maybe correct to and continue. You could look at somewhere around this previous top here, which is roughly around 104. All right, we could see the dollar at least come back, what is looking like it's doing now, down into 104 before any potential continuation up somewhere there. Also, the next point I would look at really is like this higher low here, all right, around 103.4 or so. So as long as price stays really above these levels, I would say look for price to continue to potentially go to the upside. All right, because in order for the dollar to, let's say, reverse, we would need to see some sharp sell-offs. All right, price starting to break structure. Price starts to break structure, then we can look for price to potentially continue to the downside. But as of now, still bullish on the dollar. All right, so we'll see how that develops. Looking at Euro USD, so we can see EU has been clearly in the downtrend. You can look at this on the daily, right, the weekly, no matter the time frame you're looking at. You can clearly see, right, how the strength of the dollar has caused EU to just give big waves to the downside, right? Lower lows and lower highs. So if we look at the most recent price action, you can see price just made another lower low here. Here I am on a daily. Price made another lower low right here, right? Breaking this previous low here, all right? So now this is what I would look for coming into this week with EU. I would still be looking for sales. All right, I'm still bearish until any reason, right? EU would need to give me a reason to actually look to the upside. But as of now, you could clearly see we're still in this downtrend. So I would look for my potential levels where price can pull back to, right? Pull back and retest. Really. So I would look at this previous low here. And if we can get, a nice pullback into these levels, I will look for price to continue to give us that retest and look for that potential continuation to the downside. Me personally, with this type of breakdown, especially looking at the daily, ideally, I would like to see price to stay below this daily this bearish candle on the daily. All right, so we can probably correct that and look for price to potentially just give us that continuation down. All right, AU as well. All right, you can look at every dollar pair for the most part, and you'll see how it went right in line with the strength of the dollar. So all has been taking a beating against the dollar as well. All right, really from this top, price just rolled over. All right, big sell off. And you always look left to go right. Price just repeats itself. Look in the past when price was here before, you eventually made its way down to these levels. All right, so now this time price just made a bigger lower low, now breaking this major demand level to the left. All right, so that could be a sign that we're looking to go even lower. So if we look at this even on the weekly, you can see price had a strong close below. And if we look into the left, always look left to go right. This is a major demand level. All right, and if you look in the past, that became a level of resistance or supply when price broke it, retested it, continued, retested it here again, big sell-off. All right, so we could potentially get a move like that and price want to show us signs of holding below this level. All right, so I can go down to like the 4-hour and you could clearly see it's lower lows, lower highs, price retested right here, continue down, forming a lower low here. All right, so coming into the week, it's looking like price is now starting to pull back, possibly give us that retest. I would still look for sales here on AU because we still are in this downtrend. It's not showing any reason to start to look for buys. Right now, you just want to ride the wave. All right, just trade in line with the trend. All right, so it's definitely important to still look for sales until now. Price was to come up and just break above structure. All right, breaking higher low or breaking lower high, breaking above structure. Then on these pullbacks, I would look for a potential continuation up. But as of now, I will look for price to come up, and look for the rejection, and look to catch this continuation to the downside. We can also take our fib from this swing high, this lower high, to this low. All right, so anywhere in here, 61.8, 78.6. All right, you start to look for that continuation to the downside. So we'll see how that develops. UJ. So JPY has been, if we look at UJ for the most part, JPY has been weak. It's been extreme weakness into JPY. That's why you can see even here on UJ, prices has been in this strong uptrend, also going in line with the strength of the dollar. But also, if you look at other JPY pairs, for the most part, we have had weakness on JPY over the last several weeks. But now this past week, we had a lot of strength, strong impulsive strength that came into JPY. So coming into this week, I will be looking for some potential pullbacks on JPY pairs to catch that potential continuation. All right. So if we look at UJ, if we look at this on the weekly, all right, if we zoom out a bit, we always looking left to go right. Price is really the highest it's been in a very long time. Like I'm talking about a decade. All right. This is the highest UJ has been. So it's potentially forming some type of top for at least a correction. Because if we look at this on a weekly, looks like some type of bearish engulfing is forming right here. All right, a nice bearish close on the weekly. So if we go down to the daily, you can see price actually had pretty much formed a double top right here, right here, left shoulder, right shoulder, and it pretty much formed the breakdown there, right? Breaking this neckline of it. All right. So now we're getting that pullback. So if we go down to the 4 hour, you can see right here, you can take a trend line as well from here. I will take one. I will just work on this level of structure. All right. So price rolled over from this top, rolled over from that top, broke down, breaking this higher low structure to the left. All right. Overall, price is still bullish, but this could be a nice potential day trade here on UJ setting up. A nice intraday trade. All right. Not looking for a swing on this, unless price gives us even deeper moves to the downside. But as of now, coming into this week on this pullback, I would say look for the continuation down into this level in between 127.2 and 127. All right. That's still like another 200, about another 200 pips from where price is currently at. All right. So just let this correct. Right. Take your trend line here as well. I'm expecting price to definitely stay below this lower high. All right. So on this pullback, look for that. All right. So this is pretty much like a bearish flag forming right here. So on this correction, look to sell this breakdown. And that's UJ. And we'll be looking at more JPY pairs and see how we catch some of those too. UCAD. So UCAD was a trade, was able to catch some, some sales on this. Price did, do a liquidity hunt, liquidity stop press, or like a false breakout up here. All right, because you can see, if you look at this on the daily, looking to the left. All right, always look to the left to go right. So if we look in the past, this is a key point of structure, because in the past around this level was pretty much a major level of demand in the past. If we look here, this is the level it was at in the past, around these levels of buyers, right? Around these levels of buyers. So what price is currently at, it rejected that as resistance. All right. So when you get around these level of structures, you're just looking for price to react, whether it's a bearish reaction or bullish reaction. And then you just trade what you see. You just take what the market give you. So here, price pretty much like it did a false breakout. If you look at this like on the 1 hour, right? Price was still making its way up, right? But that was a false break above this high, because then we had a break back down there. Okay. So if we're looking at that now, I believe we still could potentially get a little more move to the downside at least, because if we look at the daily, price did form this bearish engulfing. All right. And if we look at structure to the left, all right, price could be coming down to, to retest these levels of, resistance or supply structure in here. Okay, that's what I would look for. So really, if you're not in this, I know some people in VIP, I gave this trade out. Some of you held, some of you are still in it. So good job if you were able to do that. But for me, I would say maybe catch a pullback, let price pull back a little bit on this correction. If it gives you that correction, then look to catch that move to the downside. All right. So my next target on this, all right, based off the daily, I would say anywhere between 1.285, right, to 1.28, all right. But for the most part, we could catch some type of pullback and look for price to come down into these levels. GU. So GU as well, just like all the other dollar pairs. The pound has been taking, taking a major dip against the dollar, right? So if we look to the left, look where we at now. We are around potential major levels of demand. Looking to the left, you see right here, last time price was here, price had a big wave to the upside, all right? And that's what formed that move, that uptrend. So from there, that was about 2,000, basically about 2,000 pips, all right? So this is the lowest price has been in about 2 years, all right? So with that, you gotta pay attention to this level, all right? Because this is a level that acted as demand in the past, and we see on the weekly, yeah, it broke below it, but you see it starting to wick out. If we go to the daily, on the daily, all right, on the daily, we got a bullish engulfing right here, all right? That could be a sign of buyers taking control or buyers coming in. So we could potentially be getting some type of corrective move before any more move to the downside. Like just looking at this on a daily, I would like to say, okay, we'll probably get some type of corrective move back up into these bearish structure, right, for the retest before any continuation down. But first, we would need to see how things develop on a smaller time frame. So if we look at this on a 4-hour, we could clearly see we're still in the downtrend. Though you can see these lower low, lower highs, lower low, right? Lower high on this slight pullback, lower low is formed right here as well. So now, but until any further notice, I would say still look for sales, okay? Because this still could be a slight pullback before price continues now. So this is how I would look at this. Okay, let's see. All right, so price is still clearly in the downtrend. So we could be looking to retest this previous low, which price is around there now. All right. So I would say maybe somewhere around here you could possibly get, but let's say a price continues to pump above this level and pull back. On a pullback, you could possibly get, catch that continuation up maybe towards 1.25 before any move to the downside. All right. Because with the daily being bullish engulfing, that could be setting up for a deeper corrective move. But in order for price to really show signs of a bigger move up, price would need to break above this lower high here. All right. Because price could either just reject from where it's currently at, or it could have a move up, maybe retest this lower high structure and then continue to drop. That can happen. But if price was to break above here, all right, then it's possibly want to give us that continued move up toward 1.25. All right. So with GU, I'm going to be more so just, sitting on my hands, being patient, seeing what setup we could take. All right, but I will be narrowing it down. I'm going over several pairs for you all, but I will be narrowing it down to like maybe my top 2 or top 3 that I'm looking to probably take this week and just execute on the one that I feel gives me the best risk to reward, or, the better chance of, winning that trade based off what I see. All right. So if you're on VIP, I will keep you up to date on that. GJ. So GJ, how I said, like some strong, some strength came in to JPY. A lot of the JPY pairs, some strength came in. this past week. So with that, we could be catching a pullback. So we could look for the pullback for continuation. If we look in here on GJ, looking way to the left, all right, GJ has made as high as it broke above the Brexit move that it made in 2016. So we pulled way up here. And then now you see we had a big sell-off. And where price pulled down to, it pulled down to this level of structure, right? This level of resistance structure. And you see now it's actually rejecting from that, pulling up, starting to pull up, excuse me. But technically we did break below this structure. So seeing a break below a structure like that could be a good sign that we're going to go even lower. But we could possibly get a bigger correction before price does that. So this is what I would look for on GJ. Because price did end the week starting to pull up, it's correcting. So looking at this on a 4-hour, you could still clearly see the downtrend structure. So for me, I still will only be looking for sales on this, unless I was trying to, catch some type of scalp or some type of a quick counter move. Maybe if price pulled back and then maybe catch a quick move up. But overall, I believe this could be coming to pull up for a potential continuation down. So I could take my fib from this high to this low, or really to the low of the move that it made. I like it better there. All right. And really, I would like for price to pull in back towards these levels. Really roughly around 160 would be ideal. All right. Even without the fib, if we're just looking at pure price action, I would like to see price come back into these levels. So somewhere around here, price pull back into this level for a retest, and then give us that continuation move down. That's what I'm looking for on GJ. All right, because it's clear that I don't see any reason to look for buys. The only way I would say, okay, now let's start to shift. The reversal is probably in. If price was to come up here and break back above this structure, then on a pullback, I would look for a pullback and continuation up. All right, but as of now, I believe all signs is still pointing towards more sales. So with this, look for something like that. That's what I'll be looking for. Similar thing with EJ, goes back to what I was saying about the JPY pairs. A lot of strength came in. EJ was actually started the week up here, and I was waiting for this move, but I started the week up here, was ranging a bit, and then boom, a lot of volume just came in and price just had that big move to the downside. All right, so looking at that, similar to GJ, you see price came and retested some key structure. It pulled back into these levels of structure. All right, but now it's starting to pull up. But overall, it still looked like we could get another move, another wave down. This was also a head and shoulders right here. You see that being a head, left shoulder, right shoulder. All right, we broke below, breaking the neckline. So we could look for price to potentially come up and retest. It could be looked at as a point of a neckline structure of the head and shoulders, which my next point would be here, this low that it made. All right, so where price is at here on the 4-hour, price did form the bullish engulfing. So it's probably not down. It's probably not, done with the correction. So I would look for this to have a deeper move up. All right. This is still likely a corrective move. Okay, so I would look for price to pull back into these levels. On the retest of this structure, if it starts to give me bearish signs, possibly look to take that continuation to the downside, all right, at a retest of this level there. Now, if price comes up and breaks back above this level, all right, then price is probably going to come back for a deeper pullback, all right? So when I'm trading structure, it's just structure to structure, right? Certain structure levels I look for price to come back to, and I possibly look for a trade, I go there. So now if it breaks back above this level and don't break down yet, then it's possibly want to come up higher for a retest there before any more sales. So we just got to react to what price gives us. Gold. So gold as well has been tanking, dumping to the downside against the strength of the dollar. All right, as expected when the dollar's strong. Okay, so lower lows and lower highs. So just keeping this real sweet and simple. You see here on the 4-hour, the daily price is still to the downside. So if you go right here, I would still look for sales on this. So when price pull up on these any corrective moves like this, look for price to correct, and on those retest areas of structure, Look for price to potentially give you that continuation to the downside. Now, some other JPY pairs, like for example, CHF JPY is one to look at if you want to look at some of the JPYs. Look at the correlation. You can look at every JPY pair and you'll see the same thing. You'll see JPY strength has come in this past week. Looking at this on a monthly, this monthly candle is beginning to form some type of bearish engulfing. Now, this candle closes in 16 days and almost 2 weeks, well, a little over 2 weeks. But if this closes like that, then that's a sign for even a deeper swing to the downside. All right, so keep that in mind. But if you look at this, this is a major monthly level, a major level of supply. So price has finally retested it. All right, because this is the top it made in 2015. All right, so this is the highest it's been since 2015. So price made that, reached that top, slightly wicked up, and then rolled over. So if we go down to what price did, we look at the weekly, just doing a top-down analysis. Looking to the left, price made that big sell-off. All right, so price had a strong bearish close on the weekly. Okay, so let's go down to the daily. On the daily, right? This was somewhat, pretty much this is the head and shoulders right here. All right, after that right shoulder, price had a strong break. Now, if we look into the left, you can see price closed back below this structure, this level. All right, so with that, you can expect price to pull up. Price is probably going to pull up and pull back before any more continuation. So let's look at this on a 4 hour. Now you can see it a little more clear. You can see where you could possibly look for price to pull back to. All right, and it will be something like this. I could take a trend line there. All right, from that lower high to that lower high. Now I will look for price to possibly come up into these levels of structure. All right, deeper into this level, probably towards previous structure low. Previous structure low will be roughly around here. All right, so somewhere in there would be nice to see price come and retest for a potential continuation down. All right, because I can actually take my fib from that lower high to this low. All right, so anywhere between 60 to 78.6 on this one will be nice. Okay, so overall, just suspect that, but just let price correct. So right now, this is just a corrective move. All right, looking to form that bearish flag before you get that continuation down. All right, so just let it correct itself. All right, and then look to catch that potential continuation move to the downside. All right, we can also let's look at all JPY, Australian dollar JPY. Same thing. You see price started selling off. I'll look at this on a weekly. All right, looking to the left. Always look left to go right. Look at the top it made. Looking to the left, it rejected from this major level of supply in the past. Roughly way back here, right? In the past, this was a major top, major level of supply in 2015. It's the highest it's been since 2015, all right? And it rejected and found a top at that same level, all right? Basically coming back down into this level of supply. And it's not a coincidence that at that level, it rejects a bit. It pulls back some, finds support, all right? But still, I still would look for another potential move down on this. Okay, so if I look at this, you can see I'm on a 4 hour now. You can still see the lower lows and lower highs, with this being a high, lower high formed here, right? Lower low, lower low. So on this pullback, right, I would look for price to pull back. On this pullback, look for that potential continuation down on AJ. Okay, looking for this lower high to hold. You can also take your fib from that swing to this swing low. So it's pulling up roughly towards the 61.8, which is really lining up with this structure low. All right. So look for some type of continuation from there. All right. So all in all, the dollar, JPY, we have some nice setups. I would say my focus is definitely on the dollar and JPY this week. And I'm going to narrow things down to maybe my top 2, top 3, and then just let price come to me. Let price come to us. Let's execute. If you are new here, be sure to like and subscribe. Tap into the free Telegram. You'll see that link in the bio in the description. All right, I do give out free markups, free analysis, free projections. Sometimes I might throw a signal in there, here and there. But for the most part, you can just learn from at least some of the projections I'll give out. You can see my perspective, and you can see how things do play out because price action is king. So we just got to be patient and allow things to come to us and execute. All right. So I'll see you all on the next one. Y'all be blessed.